Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson here during our live show every Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern, answering the questions you guys have. So if you've got a question, want to be on the next mailbag, join us Thursdays at 4 Eastern. Now, this first question comes in via Super Chat from the Brown Tiger. I know everyone says that there is no way to keep Brissett after this year, but do you see a plausible way that we can keep him? I think he's already a perfect backup for Watson. I really would like to keep him. I would too. Brissett has played well enough to get a starting job elsewhere next year. He just has. Here's what's interesting. When Deshaun Watson returns, you have Brissett, Dobbs, and I know we all forgot, Kellen Mond on the active 53-man roster. He's not on the practice squad, guys. He's on the active 53. He's just been inactive every single game. So my guess is when Watson returns, whoever has not looked the best in practice so far between Mond and Dobbs will get released and then signed to the practice squad. Hopefully, Andrew Berry wants to say, the next day. I really don't see him keeping 4 QBs. My guess is he brought Kellen Mond in because he was thinking next year down the line, knowing we probably won't get Jacoby Brissett next year. So let's have Dobbs and Mond compete to be the backup for Watson next year. That is why Mond was brought in. And I think that's a big reason why to believe it probably won't be Jacoby Brissett returning next year, especially because the Browns don't want to pay him, a backup quarterback, a ton of money. And Brissett, he'll find a place with a nice contract this upcoming year. I mean, the Panthers, the Colts, there are teams out there that are going to be QB needy. And if they don't get their guy in the draft, Brissett might be another bridge quarterback for them. Appreciate the super chat and the question, though, Brown Tiger. David Botner. Yo, I assume we'll be playing a lot of zone with QB spy on defense. David, great question. And funny enough, we always bitch and moan about Joe Woods' zone defense. But I do think with Tyreek Hill, who is sort of the king of yards after the catch, it is important to keep the ball in front of you. And that's what zone defense often does, right? Don't let the man get behind you. Now, we have seen some improvement from this defense. Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome have really come to life the last couple of weeks. Getting Denzel Ward back is awesome. I don't know if I'm ready to get in bed with just man across the board on Waddle and Hill. That seems like you're asking for trouble, especially because, well, then you're probably doing a cover 2, and that means Grant Delpit and John Johnson are the last line of defense. Yikes. Don't like that idea. So I do see some more zone defense coming and a QB spy to make sure Tua stays in check in the pocket. But you need to put pressure on him. When Tua gets pressure, that's when he gets to crumble a little bit. Joshua Miller, next one up. So Josh asking this during a video we had the other day, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Question/topic for the live show. After half a season, what 3 players do we want to keep for 2023, and what 2 to 3 players should we move on or let go of? So, good question, Josh. I answered your question. What's that? Okay, so a couple players that could be moving on from and could be keeping here. So, moving on from, I got my notes right here. Moving on from John Johnson, Anthony Schwartz, and Demetric Felton. Those are 3 guys in my eyes that just don't seem like they have a spot on this roster next year. Johnson, you can save a lot of money from. Schwartz is a healthy scratch. Demetric Felton's role with special teams, he's bombed at it early in the year. He's probably done. Players to keep, Ethan Posick, the starting center. I don't think Nick Harris has a starting job when he returns, unfortunately for him. Posick has done well enough to be this team's starting center moving down the line. Harrison Bryant, I really like him. And then Taki, another guy on the last year of his rookie contract. I could absolutely see Taki getting re-signed and staying in Cleveland and starting to build a nice linebacker core with JOK. All right, Gregory H., you're next up on the show. I know Mary Kay said Kareem Hunt was probably going to be leaving Cleveland. Do you believe it'll happen during the season? Should the record tank? Well, Kareem Hunt's not leaving during the season, right? I think you're getting maybe a little mixed up of when the season's over and his contract is up, I don't see the Browns re-signing him. Maybe if he takes a major hometown discount, they will. But the way I look at it is it can go one of 2 ways. Kareem Hunt balls out. All right, he's going to command a decent amount of coin in the free agency market. Maybe Andrew Berry doesn't want to pony up for that. Kareem Hunt doesn't have a good end of the season. Kind of proves that Andrew Berry was right to not give him an extension when he demanded one or a trade back in August. So for those reasons, I don't really see an easy path for Hunt to return unless he just decides to take less money with Cleveland. And Andrew Berry goes, well, if that's the case, then yeah, we have a spot in our 53-man roster for you. All right, before we get to more questions, though, watch party coming up. Browns, Dolphins, we're back after the bye. And if you want to be a part of the best viewing experience for a Cleveland Browns football game, join us this Sunday. We get started 15 minutes before kickoff. Click on the thumbnail. I guarantee you'll have a good time. And if the Browns are winning, you better come join the watch party. Speaking of this game, predict the score. Browns, Dolphins. I want to hear everyone's score predictions watching right now. I'm all the way back in, guys. I'm that delusional, and I know it. And if you say you know it, it's different. But I'm back in, baby. I'm all the way in. I am driving the bus of Browns to the playoffs. Let me know your score predictions down below. All right, next question coming up comes in from Alex. Do you think Amari Cooper is a top 10 receiver? I think he is. Yeah. I'm not going to run through the top 10 receivers because there's a lot of good receivers in the NFL right now. Everyone wants to be a receiver. But Amari Cooper has put up phenomenal numbers. He has 4 games over 100 yards this season with a backup quarterback. I think Amari Cooper is still top 10. So, yeah, I would say Amari Cooper is probably closer to 10 than 1. Because you got guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. I mean, that quickly fills up the top 5. But I think Cooper's right there at 9 and 10. Gregory H. with another question on the show. If there's no prominent quarterback, I'd like to see a running back get it this year as far as MVP. I agree, Gregory, because the last 9 MVPs have been won by quarterbacks. Going back until Adrian Peterson won it in 2012. Now, when AP won it that year, he eclipsed 2,000 yards, which has been done since. Derrick Henry did it, for example. But every year, a quarterback has really taken off. Lamar, Mahomes, Rodgers. This year, it's early, and usually the MVP really puts on a late surge to solidify the award. But probably not going to be Josh Allen. He's got 8 interceptions this far into the season. That's a big number to win only halfway through. Mahomes is having a quietly, I don't even you can call it quiet, a very good season. He's probably the MVP frontrunner, but it does make for a nice change of pace. Maybe a running back wins it. Nick Chubb, 10 rushing touchdowns so far in the year. That puts him on pace to summit over 20. Last guy to do it, LaDainian Tomlinson in 06 with 28 rushing touchdowns, which is just crazy to think about. And he won the MVP that year. So if Nick Chubb gets it, 20-plus touchdowns, could make a good case. Another question coming in from Alex. I think Myles will force Tua's worst game. What do you think? Myles Garrett, in my eyes, has to have the best game of his season so far. Because the Browns playing against Miami, they can't afford to blitz linebackers when they need to sit in coverage. And they need to work on stopping Tua and Jalen Waddle. They need pressure from the front 4. Myles Garrett, 7.5 sacks this year. I think he's got to have 2 sacks this game to really, or get a whole bunch of QB pressures and hits. Clowney needs to bring it too. This front 4 needs to get it done on their own without help from the linebackers, who will be way too busy shutting down the middle of the field. We're going to answer more questions for you guys in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. But BetUS, our sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports, has a great deal for the dog pound. Head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. When you do, you'll get a 125% deposit bonus. Now, in layman's terms, let's say you put $100 in. Well, BetUS will match that 100, and then they'll give you an extra 25%. So $225 to play with. You want to bet on the Browns this week? Make all your picks at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. Carla, what's up? You're next on the show. Who's your favorite now Browns player right now, and who's your second favorite NFL team? Carla asking some hard-hitting questions right there. Favorite player on the Browns right now? I always love to go the non-conventional route. So I will say, I don't want to say like Nick Chubb because I think that's too easy. I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'll go DPJ, and I love JOK. The long last names, the hyphen, it just gets me. I don't know what to say. But I love those two guys. But like Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, of course, they are awesome. But I just like going off the beaten path. Second favorite NFL teams really depends on who wins my bets. That's kind of the metric. I've got the Bears this week against the Lions, so I'll put the Bears down. How about that? All right, here we go. Next one up on the show, Thomas Webb. Browns to the Super Bowl if we beat Miami this week. Book your tickets to Glendale. It's that simple. The Browns beat the Dolphins. Not really. But the Browns beat the Dolphins. They're 4-6, getting ready for the Bills and the Bucks. 4-5, excuse me. They can finish 5-6 before Watson comes back. It's going to give them a fighting chance. And right now, after blown opportunities, especially against the Jets, the Falcons, and the Chargers, just won one of those 3 games. And you're 4-4 right now. And you go 6-5, 5-5, whatever, 5-6. I mean, just drives me bonkers what could have been. But yeah, Miami, big game this week to keep their playoff hopes alive. Green Marsh, you're next up on the show. Could you see Andrew Berry giving out any mid-season contract extensions? Good question, Mr. Green. No. Andrew Berry gave mid-season contract extensions last year to Teller and to Petonio, so he has done it before. I know everyone's going to be going, Kareem Hunt, right? That's a candidate. Listen, Kareem Hunt, if he plays out of his mind, I've never seen one get this late done in the year. It's usually a contract extension done late October, early November. As we get later in the year, Andrew Berry probably unlikely to do it. A long shot, and it probably won't happen, but Donovan Peoples-Jones, that's probably my best guess. DPJ, if I really had to pick a name, gun to my head. Now, DPJ is in his 3rd year, right? Rookie year 2020, 2021, 2022. So usually they get done in the 4th year of your rookie contract. So next year, I think I bet next year we could get a DPJ contract extension. I really doubt Andrew Berry lets him hit free agency, but I don't think it's probably going to happen mid-season. But good question, though. Thank you. Last question, as long as we get into super chats. Gregory H., I still sign Suh if he's in shape. Guys, it is time to put the pitchforks down. And Ndamukong Suh is not being signed by any NFL team, barring a run of injuries, right? It is just this late in the game. I just don't see a way Andrew Berry bringing him in right now. I also don't even really see Suh staying in shape. It's November. You're telling me this guy has been working out 5, 6, 7 days a week, waiting for the phone call this late in his NFL career? No. He's enjoying his, undeclared retirement so far. So I just don't see it happen. Appreciate the idea, though. We banged that drum for a while. It's time to put the sledgehammers down. The wall is staying up between Ndamukong Suh and going to Cleveland. Congrats, Gorbachev. You got us this time.